Hello ladies and gents, Romie Reviews here. Please like, comment, subscribe. This is If Loving You Is Wrong, Season 4, Episode 7, Digging Up Old Dirt. Now, this episode was very odd, a little confusing, so bear with me. The season finale is next week. Yes, you heard me, the season finale is what they're calling it. I don't know how that's possible. This is only episode 7. I thought they were going to say mid-season, but whatever. I'm just happy the show is back. We get to Alex's doctor, goes and gives her the test results that, hey, you're going to want to sit down for this. And not only is Randall not the father, based on what we're learning, it wasn't the clearest thing that it's a possibility, possibly, that it could either be Brad. So our initial thinking of someone has some black in their family, was either accurate or it's someone else's baby. And Alex is just so confused, not sure what to do. But the doctor reminded her, hey girl, I need for you to come and rep me at the hospital, because if you don't do that, then I'm going to be screwed. And so Alex said, yeah, of course. I already know that something's going to go wrong, because it has to. Oh yeah, today's Wednesday, which means a new ASMR video. The link will be in the below box later on today. I didn't do it yet. I'm not sure what I'm going to do it on. So we get to Eddie. Eddie throws Esperanza in jail, and thankfully Esperanza has a good cellmate. Neighbor, I should say. And it's Kelly. And Kelly's looking like Kelly's been looking. She's in jail, so it's to be expected. And it kind of irks me because it almost felt like Kelly was the one telling Esperanza, oh, it'll be okay, woo, 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 because Esperanza lets Kelly know that Eddie threw her in there due to the fact that it's Eddie, and Kelly's still staying strong. Esperanza's just like, we love you. Do you want me to bring your son here? She said, no, don't do that. Here comes Lucian. Lucian comes to talk to Kelly, and Kelly's like, Lucian, I'm good. I am good. You need to talk to Esperanza. What do you mean? She's next door. Next door? I said, oh my gosh. Goes and looks, sees Esperanza's in there, so he goes and opens up the cell, because she says it was Eddie. Who do you think? And so now Eddie was like, no, keep that closed. Lucian looked at him, looked at her, opened that. She left, and then we get to Steven coming out of nowhere and saying, wait, hey Esperanza, what's wrong with you? She was like, oh, it's nothing. He said, okay, really, what's wrong? Eddie, what did Eddie do? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about what? Eddie locked me in a jail cell. Locked you in a jail cell? Why? Because I had lunch with him and I forgot my wallet. So he said that I was trying to skip out on paying the bill. So he arrested me. And Steven, being Steven, said, well, why were you having lunch with him? See, it was a valid question, but no one wants to hear that when something like that happens to them. So Steven was wrong for kind of doing the whole, why'd you have lunch with him, coming from like a jealous boyfriend angle. So I felt Esperanza for like 2 seconds when she was over him reacting like that. But Steven's like, wait, it doesn't matter. She was like, I need to just talk to him about the situation with our daughter and how he's been acting, and I don't have time for this. So it was so funny when Lucian was like, Eddie, go that way. Go that way. Don't you leave for. I think Eddie's actually a little bit tired. Eddie seemed a little bit off this entire episode. We didn't get the usual rah-rah Eddie, and I definitely noticed that. What I also noticed was when Eddie and Steven were about to go and have a verbal tussle, and Lucian said, we do not have time for this. Stop it. What are y'all doing? Lucian then talks to the woman who's a part of the church. What was her name? Clarissa, something like that. and she's oh she's chaplain, and she's a part of Rick knows her from the church. She's upset. She has her Bible, and clearly Kelly vexed her spirit because she was so nervous. I think she finally realized that something wasn't right. The fact that when she told Kelly that there was other girls, and she didn't really think too much about it because she thought, oh, okay, Travis, handsome dude, these women going crazy for him, it's not impossible. But then when she really thought about it, she realized, wait, what if he was the one doing this to all these other women? I said, oh, 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 what a shocker! What a shocker! Who would have thunk it? Who would have thunk it? And so then she was really concerned. Lucian was trying to get it out of her that, hey, can you help her out? Can you do this? Can you do that? And she was just acting like, well, I just don't know. And so then Rick said, okay, go back to the church, just go, or go home, calm down, we'll talk later. And Rick was talking to Lucian saying, she's mentally weak right now. You're not going to get what you want if you press her too much. I will talk to her later and see what I can do because I definitely want to help Kelly out. Now kind of realizing the writing on the wall and how messed up this Travis guy is. I'm going to do what I can, and we're going to get her out of here. I said, look at this 180 that Rick's doing. That guilty conscience, huh? That, oh, well, the person's not a victim until you really get to know them, huh? Hmm. Isn't that something? Well, uh, now we have Brad. Brad is talking to Marcy because they went out on a dinner date, and Brad is over it. Brad, he's saying he loves Marcy. He can't wait for Alex to sign the papers, and he actually says that he wants to marry Marcy. And Marcy gave him that look of, she was happy, but at the same time, reality hit her like, wow, I'm finally getting what I said I wanted. And it doesn't feel the way that it should because he's something. Now that he's the one chasing you and trying to make the rash moves and the rash decisions, you see how it feels to be on the other side, to be the chased one, the wanted one, and it's too much for you. It's nerve-wracking. It's, you just don't, you think, you know that he loves you, but it doesn't mean that he should just jump right in. Brad is the relationship type of guy. He's the type of guy that needs to be with someone, needs to be connected with someone, needs to be hooked up, cuffed up with someone. And there's nothing overall wrong with that. The problem is that that type of person is the same type of person who will jump lily pad, and then stay, and then be unhappy and not even realize it. He definitely lives in his own little world. And Marcy said, "Are you really over Alex? Because you went back to her, so that hurt her, but she understood because that was his wife." So then she flipped it on him, and she said, "Oh, well, she's not over Randall, and she's serious." And even after all the stuff that he did, she still wants to, try and see if she can work it out because of all they went through. And Brad was over it, as he should. Brad was over it, as he should have been, and that hurt him to his core. And then Marcy said, "I'm kidding, Brad." And he was like, I really believed you. I'm thinking, oh God. Oh my gosh, Brad, we need to work on you or something because. And then his feelings were hurt, and she was like, "I'm sorry." I was like, don't play that type of joke on me. I'm thinking, dude. But now I understood why he got nervous, because next thing we know and next thing we see is that he takes out a ring box. And when I tell you Marcy's face was glowing, and Marcy definitely had that look of she would say yes to the dress, say yes to the ring, say yes to everything if she possibly could in that moment. Marcy was happy. Marcy was happy. Marcy was happy. But she had to tell him no. But she had to tell him no. But she had to tell him no. Nope, nope. Marcy was happy, but she had to tell him no. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. Even though she kept looking at that ring. She kept looking at that ring. Larry, Mr. Won't Let It Go, he's outside of Randall's place. Randall is upset, doesn't want to let him in. Larry said that I have information that you need to see and understand why I did this, why you need to be granted that divorce immediately. So eventually, Randall lets him in. Randall lets him in, and um, he's like 3 minutes. Randall gives him this information. Apparently, Randall was gaslighting his patients in the hospital and he got caught. That means that he was intentionally making them sick or sicker, depending on what their situation was, in order to uh, manipulate them, get more money out of them, do whatever he needed to do with them. And there was a lawsuit. The hospital, I guess, agreed to whatever type of settlement, firing him, whatever, and putting it under the table. Now, Randall didn't realize that it was public information, essentially, if you had enough money and, had someone who was determined. And Larry said, she could have used this, you would have been destroyed, because he does have a current practice. And Randall's still pissed about being manipulated, but Larry is relentless, and it's just like, okay, I see, I told you I did a good thing, so let's go and have drinks, and you just need to get over it. And Randall needs a friend. He does not have a friend right now. He needs someone to go. He doesn't have a girlfriend. He doesn't have, male friends like that because he has huge ego issues. And so I think that's why, even though Larry did this to him, he still is like, okay, all right, you can stay for a bit. Kelly is in jail and Rick visits her. And Rick is saying that he's working on something. And he's dressed in his regular clothes because he's going to go to the church. He's going to go to Calvary Church, which Kelly looks at him and think, oh, great. So you're going back to the scene of the crime to do what, dude? What are you going to do over there? Really, what are you going to do over there? And he said, I'm on your side. I promise, I am on your side. I just need to go back there because that's the only way I can really help you is from the inside. And at this point, Kelly doesn't have a choice. She has to believe him. He said how determined she was when she was first trying to get Travis off of her back. And she was like, yeah. And see where that got me. He said, you need to keep that. You need to keep that. You need to do it now. Because with the information that I'm going to get, you'll be out of here. You'll be out of here. Because the only way to do this is if we can get information on him that they wouldn't want exposed and put out. And so that's what I'm going to get. Randall, he took a call. I'm trying to see. So Randall has to go to the hospital because he received a call saying that they want to talk to him. Remember, the board is meeting with her. And so Larry leaves. Larry leaves, and in comes, I want to call her Tanya. But, the new neighbor who had the mental episode. She came over. She's in her right state of mind. And she told Randall off. She was like, look, I remember what you said to me. So here's how this works. Don't talk to me and we'll be good. He said, first off, I don't know what you're talking about. Secondly, you came over to talk to me. Well, I only did that to tell you not to. Well, get in line. Your husband already did that. Oh, okay. And, but by the way, and she was like, don't look at me naked again. You were the one that was naked. She wasn't arguing from a position of strength. And she also told him, don't look in my window. You said, don't look in mine, unless you liked what you saw. And all of this. And she said, all of what? There wasn't much there. I said, oh. He was like, oh, we'll get a closer look. And that's when she runs away. But Natalie was right there. And Natalie hates Randall because Natalie is smart. So she talks to the woman and she was just like, hey, I understand he's the worst. I 100% get it. He is the worst. And Natalie says how is she doing? She's feeling better as long as she takes her medication. She's good. She's sorry for what happened. And they even kind of talk about food for a moment, about if you put cinnamon on the sweet rolls, it tastes really good. And they had a nice chit chat. So once the woman goes back to her house, Natalie looked over at Randall and said, you are a disgusting human being. You're trash. And Randall said, all right, homegirl. I mean, where's your car, sis? Why did you go and walk to the supermarket? This isn't that type of neighborhood. This is not the hood. This is not where you go to the corner store or the liquor store and you can go and get your head. I said, oh my gosh. Someone get him. Someone get him. Now Larry's back at work and Eddie... Wait a minute. The fact that Larry drank... And so Larry drank all the alcohol, got right back in his car, drove perfectly fine. I said, something is really wrong with this man. And something's wrong with Randall for not even telling him you shouldn't be driving. But Larry's at work and... This was one of the most fulfilling moments in this entire series. Larry read into Eddie and just dug in. Okay, that's a weird motion, but really dug in there. Eddie was told by Larry that here's the thing. You're going down. You're going down because I'm mounting one of the biggest cases against you of my career, of my life. And once I'm done with you, you will be screwed because you decided to go and mess with officers Pete, Andrew. He was going down the list. Natalie's son. I said, wait a minute, what's going on now? Junior? You mean Junior that's been in the jail? In the county prison? He said, I have statements, witness testimonials, and people that will go on the stand against you. And he was like, Andrew? I thought he was dead. What's going on with Andrew? Andrew's been in witness protection program the entire time. And you're so dumb you didn't even know it because you couldn't find him. You couldn't find anything because it was above your pay grade. When I tell you Eddie stood back like, well, you don't want to make an enemy of me. But that's all he had to say. He was not coming from a position of power or strength. Eddie was coming from a position of almost, hey, kind of throw me a bone. Don't do that to me. And it was the most fulfilling moment I've ever seen from Eddie. Eddie looking genuinely concerned was so satisfying. I cackle. God, it's so good all the time. Now we get to not Larry. Well, Larry's friend, Ian. Ian comes over to Natalie's house. He brings a bottle of wine, and he says that he's going to help Kelly. But the only way he can really help her, since it's a conflict of interest, since he's working for the agency that's repping Travis's family, he does need to use that public defender, the new green guy. But he knows him. He will prep him, and he will give him the information that he needs. He just can't do it himself. And I said, you know what, that's fair enough. I mean, this is logic at the end of the day. Larry can't do it himself, but he can help. So just accept that. You're just going to have to get over it, Lucian. He's trying to tell you that it would not work anyway if it was him repping. Come on. He probably wouldn't be able to even use the information. So Alex comes over, and Ian was looking at him like, "Hi, Jennifer." We're all looking at her like, "Who's Jennifer?" And she said, "No, my name's Alex." And he looked at her really deep and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, you look like someone I know." And then Natalie asks if he could look at her divorce documents. Her husband wants her to, is giving her 24 hours to look it over and sign it. And so then he said, okay, of course, after dinner, he'll go to her house. I already knew that didn't sound right. While they were walking there, he said, "Okay, you're not telling me the whole situation." And she said, "Maybe one day." Because he said, "You left something out. The reason why he's moving so fast doesn't sound right." She said, "Yes, you're right. But one day I'll tell you, not right now." It was funny. Clearly that babysitter, they weren't trying to pay her like that. So they just had her go and stay quiet the whole time when Alex was like paying her. And even Eddie said, good night. And she didn't say anything. There are unpaid I think your rate increases, or maybe if you're on screen but you don't talk, you don't have to get paid. I don't know what the rules are. If you're not a part of like SAG or whatever, you don't have to get paid if you don't talk. I think or maybe it's a different rate. um and so Ian pushes up on her because he said, "All right, now that no one is here, Jennifer, now we can really talk." And he kind of holds her up and is trying to kiss her. I said, "Okay, this does not look good." And people were saying that maybe it's because, I know last week someone said that maybe Alex had a split personality. Now people are saying maybe Randall did something to Alex and, gaslit Alex as well in order to get her to cheat on Brad. And that's why, and while that was happening, she met Ian and slept with him. I think. That's what people are saying is a strong possibility. So that was it, because the previews for next week were Ian saying, "Is that baby mine?" Which means that they slept together. They slept together. Alex, it really genuinely looks like she has no idea what's going on, which has me thinking, okay, this is something bigger. This is something bigger. So that's it. Please like, comment, subscribe. Today's also Wednesday, which means Empire and Star. My recaps for those shows will be up tomorrow. And thanks.